Hi everyone, this is Dory back with another episode of Dory's Helpful Hints. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and we're looking forward to the Christmas holiday season. It's probably going to be a very short month, and for all my Jewish friends, Happy Hanukkah. I just wanted to talk today about GMOs, just a little bit. I'm not going to get in depth because I'd like to do that in another video. But I'd like to clarify, for those of you who are not aware, what exactly a GMO is. GMOs are genetically modified organisms. That is to say, you would take the genetics of, say, a corn plant, and you would combine that with the genetics of maybe an insect or a toxin or something of that nature that is not plant-based, it's not the same thing as hybridizing corn and creating a new corn. This is actually a genetic manipulation that takes place that fuses corn with something completely different to create a genetic characteristic in corn that is not typically there. I'm using corn as an example because corn, 90% of the corn that's grown in the United States now is genetically modified. And it's genetically modified because they either A, want it to produce its own pesticide so that the corn is actually registered as a pesticide, or they want it to be able to withstand massive doses of a particular pesticide like glyphosate, because Monsanto does have GMO corn. There's another company that's not as well known that also makes a GMO corn that will tolerate their pesticide, but it's all the same thing. They just want to be able to sell more of their product, their pesticides, and have it sprayed on plants so that they can make more money. Also, when a plant is genetically modified, they can then patent it. So people who grow corn that is not genetically modified in the United States, because they're surrounded now by GMO corn, all the manufacturer has to do is prove that there was cross-contamination, and then you have to remove your crop or pay them for the rights to grow it. Growers also now are having trouble actually saving seeds because they can't prove that their seeds are not genetically modified, and Monsanto will actually go in, take them to court, and shut them down. So they're shutting down small growers, they're shutting down people who don't use their seeds, and it's all based on money. They needed to find a way to actually patent a product and make money off of it. What's the scariest thing for me is that once they do that, once they take over our food supply completely, then they're in complete control of what we eat. And that's scary. That's the bread of life. And when somebody else controls what you can and can't grow, then they control you. And that gives a company, a corporation, or somebody inordinate amounts of power. And that's always dangerous. Not sometimes. I would contend that that's always dangerous. So genetically modified organisms. Right now you have corn, 80% of soy is genetically modified. They just recently included alfalfa in that. Sugar, if it's not cane sugar, sugar beets are genetically modified. You can go online and get a list of foods. I believe there are 9 of them now in total that are genetically modified. Most people don't realize that currently wheat is not one of the genetically modified plants, although they are desperately trying. But most countries now will not allow the import of genetically modified foods. They are taking steps to protect their population. We in the United States don't feel the need to take those steps. Their take on GMOs is you need to prove to me that it is safe before we will allow it into our country. High fructose corn syrup, illegal in Europe. If you go over to Europe and you have soda, you've got sugar, cane sugar in that soda, because they will not use high fructose corn syrup because nobody has shown them that it's safe. Same for genetically modified organisms. If you can't prove that it's safe, they won't allow it into their food supply. We in the United States take a different bent, If you can't prove to us that it's not safe, then by all means go ahead. But it takes years to find out whether or not these organisms or this change in our food supply is going to affect us physically. I mean, what exactly does glyphosate do? If you have a plant that you can spray massive doses of glyphosate on, what does it do to insects? How does it kill them? It pokes holes in their digestive system. What is the big thing that we're having difficulty with now? We're having difficulty with inflammatory bowel diseases and things that make holes in our intestines and allow large chunks of food into our bloodstream that shouldn't be there. And that's what's happening now. So you can't tell me that something that's going to poke holes in the digestive tract of an insect isn't going to affect me in some way. It might take longer because I'm bigger. But ultimately, we're going to end up with the same problem, I think. And you need to be able to prove to me that that's not going to be the case before you have me eating it. I think that's common sense. Don't give me something that could potentially harm me until you know that it won't. The government, the whole point of the FDA was to protect us. At this point, most of the people who run the FDA have worked for Monsanto or some other large food distributor. They get in there, they do 3 or 4 years, then they move back into an executive position. So they're not there to protect me. They're there to protect the stockholders in large corporations that deal with food. Trusting the government to take care of what goes in my mouth, that doesn't happen anymore. There's too many lines that say they're more interested in what's good for them than they are in what's good for me. So be your own advocate when it comes to food, and if possible, avoid GMOs. The only way to avoid GMOs when it comes to soy and when it comes to corn and when it comes to some of these like sugar cane or sugar beets. Sugar that you buy in the grocery store is not always sugar. Sugar cane is not genetically modified. Sugar beets are. And unless it says 100% cane sugar, then you cannot guarantee that it's not sugar beets, which are genetically modified. So be your own advocate when you can. Buy organic, to be sure. And just be very cognizant of what goes into your mouth. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. My next video, I'm going to go back towards the colors for a little bit, and I've got some more information that I wanted to share with you on that. So until next time, thanks for watching and have a great week.